Greetings and welcome to the Warhammer 40,000 kill team video, where today I'm going over the best off-meta kill teams. But before we get into things, please remember to like and subscribe as well as comment. Let me know what you thought of today's video, and remember I've got a Discord you can check out for free in the episode description below, and a affiliate link at Element Games, and a affiliate link and discount code at Crossfire Games, and a Patreon if you want to give me some more support. But let's get on with the video. So what are off-meta kill teams? Kill teams that are not meta leaders, but still with strong matchup spreads. So it's like they're not the most dominant kill team, but they generally have favorable matchups. They have key bad matchups that prevent them from being dominant, such as, like theoretically, for example, they can't beat anyone in the S tier, or they have a lot of bad matchups in the S and A tier, which means, when they come to events, even though you could win most of your games, if you run into these factions, you could be having a high chance to lose. And they do well in either to specific missions, kill zones, or metas. Because we have, for off-meta kill teams, sometimes they're really much better on Vulcus than Beta Decima, or Gallowdark than Vulcus and stuff like that. Or their specific missions when it comes to stuff like Extraction and Sabotage, or even metas. For example, let's say we had an Eldari meta. There'd be certain teams that do well into that kind of meta, but then if something else is more popular, then they may not do as well. They're generally amazing for team-based tournaments. So this may, because in team events, you kind of get to choose your matchups. And when you're playing in team formats, you've already got a more limited selection of kill teams you can face. And when you can tailor your matchups, you can effectively ignore your bad matchups or pick kill zones that are favorable for you or missions that are favorable for you. I had a friend who played Warhammer 40,000 competitively, and when he was playing singles, he'd play Eldari. But when he came to team format, he'd play Grey Knights, and you go look, normally Grey Knights are not great as a single competitive force, but when you take them into team formats, they're suddenly really, really good. And I'm not saying you build teams for team tournaments with entirely off-meta teams, but having one or two can actually be very powerful for your team overall. And usually they're great at countering specific kill teams or playstyles. For example, we have some kill teams who are really good at countering melee teams, some which are really good at countering shooting teams, some are really good at board control. So it kind of gives you this general picture of teams that either aren't the most popular or generally aren't the strongest, but spec into specific areas that makes them really good, or specific formats. So starting off, we have the Hernkyn Yaegirs. They have resourceful points that allow up to 3 operatives a turning point to flex into either +1 APL or heal D3 +1 wounds. And if they're a warrior, their +1 APL lasts until they next activate, which is really very good. And they just heal 4 wounds instead of healing D3 +1, which makes them pretty reliable. So it allows operatives to either have on-the-spot healing or suddenly burst to 3 APL, which is really useful. Tough Survivalist is great damage negation, along with their 8 wounds and 4-up save. So the first time they suffer damage during a sequence once per turning point, they can halve that damage to a minimum of 2, which makes them quite survivable, especially against teams that can't double fight or double shoot. They can zone out a lot of the kill zone with their Hypex mines. So the way the Hypex mines work, if you take their Mine Layer Specialist or the Iron Break, effectively you place 5 mine markers. Unfortunately, you do have to place them first, because otherwise it gets really weird to place them. But 3 are live and 2 are fake. And effectively, every time your opponent moves into them, you flip them over. And if they're fake, then nothing happens. If they're real, they stop and they take D3 +3 damage, which is very good and stops them where they are. So it allows you to zone a lot of the kill zone and is really useful into kill zones such as Gallowdark as well as Beta Decima. You can burst into group activation 2 via bonds that bind. So when you activate one friendly ready operative, you can activate another within 3 inches, which is really useful, allowing for especially when you're trying to gang up on either a specific target or use group activation to basically kill 2 key opponents for your enemy operatives. Then you've got No Kin Left Behind, which is a great defensive and offensive ploy. So when someone dies, you spend a CP to place a marker, and then every time you're shooting or fighting or retaliating within 3 inches of that marker, you can turn a failure into success or success into a crit, which is really useful and actually quite thematic. So makes really good when you're either trying to make a last stand and trying to hold off a part of the board, or when you charge in aggressively to your opponent, they kill you, but now every time you push up, you've got that auto switching a miss to a hit or a hit to a crit, which is really, really strong. They're overall a really good defensive kill team, coupled with their damage negation, their ability to shrug off damage with their 4-up save and 8 wounds makes them quite durable. They also do have a turning point 1 free 4-inch move up the board, which is kind of useful just to secure in the midline, allowing you to stage earlier in turning point 1. And they have powerful short range shooting, with a lot of their operatives having 6-inch range with 4 attacks hit on 3s, 4/4 shotguns, or basically outside of their sniper and rocket launcher having really good short range. Even their their pistol guy has a 9-inch pistol, which is very, very damaging. And they're great into Eldari and other mid-range kill teams. So if you have around 10 operatives, this kill team is actually great, even into more like larger kill teams because of that damage negation, especially when you've got like plasma knives. So even though you're only 3 attacks, hitting on 4s, 3/5 lethal 5-up, it does deter even Eldari charging you, because especially with your halving damage negation, it means you're very likely to survive, and if you roll well, you're even likely to kill. However, their weakness is horrible tac-op synergy, and they struggle into elite kill teams. Basically, they don't really synergize well with their tac-ops at the moment. This might change after this video goes up, because we should have a balanced data slate in about 2 to 3 weeks. But currently, they don't really synergize well with Seek and Destroy and Infiltration. And elite kill teams really struggle for them, because they basically only have 2 sources of piercing, one when they shoot, which isn't ideal. But if you're playing into specifically like Eldari teams, this kill team is great. And it's also really good on Gallowdark, where you can technically place your mines better because the walls block the range your mines have to be apart. And they're really good even into other Horde teams. So if you were kind of like, let's say, playing a team tournament and you wanted something to anchor against Horde teams, Hernkyn Yaegirs would be a great choice. Now, they are probably the weakest kill team on this list, but I still think they're really, really solid. And they shine so much better in team formats, just because they get to pick those bad matchups. Well, they get to ignore those bad matchups, target specific good matchups, and when they can do that, they can really punish the opponent quite hard. Next, we have the Elucidian Starstriders. They're a very powerful shooting kill team with some decent melee operatives, namely Elucia Vayne and your assassin. You've got Dog, but the Dog's just there. You've got great damage negation with Undaunted Explorers. Like with the Hernkyn Yaegirs, the first time someone takes damage once per turning point, they halve the damage to a minimum of 2, which makes your 7 to 8 wound operatives oddly very durable. And you also have a really good shooting defense, because the Rejuvenate Adept is the best medic in the game. It just heals 3d3, which is really, really powerful. And then coupled with the Electromaester, who gives this 4-inch aura of rerolling a defense dice, and armored undersuits, which if you have worse than a 4-up save, you can retain one of your shooting dice as a 4-up save, which is really, really good, and I think oddly applies to the Dog. But it's really nice, because it means not only are you basically halving damage from the first dice that's dealt to you when you're shooting, you choose it, you've also got 4 to 5-up saves that you're re-rolling. So when you're trying to do a shootout, you actually have the edge, because you're more likely to, like, if someone shoots you and you're within range of your medic, you go up to minimum 4 wounds, up to 6, and you can just win that shootout along with your defensive tools. They have lots of balanced shooting while within 6 of the enemy of the opponent, or while within friendly operatives, such as with the Voidmaster, who gives an additional reroll to your Voidsman, and you have 4 Voidsmen, so it becomes really effective when you're using stuff like crack grenades, because you can get double rerolls, but even then it makes your shooting at close range very reliable. Privateer support assets allow amazing burst damage from Silent, because you now shoot them during your activation from a Voidsman or Elucia Vayne, and you've got your Void Lance, which is 4 attacks hitting on 4s, 6, 7, piercing 2, and then you've got a wide range of attacks that suddenly, even though you've got a lot of operatives with just las guns, they can suddenly basically, just call in an airstrike. It's great. And then you've got Privateer support assets that allow amazing burst range damage from Silent. And then you've got Warrants of Trade, which allow a lot of passive buffs. So you've got 6 or 7, and you can select up to 3 a game. Generally selecting +1 command point. You can select +1 equipment option. Then you can do like 1 for delay in activation once per game, reroll the initiative. Allows you to be very flexible and semi-unpredictable to your opponent. And you're able to burst into 7-inch movement with Quick March, and allowing you to match other faster teams. So when you're moving closer towards the enemy drop zone, you get +1 movement, and this is really key into other fast kill teams such as Eldari teams, who are also all 7-inch movement. And you're flexible on any kill zone. Like, because your Elucidian Starstriders have a lot of ways to give out free APL or have free APL operatives, they're actually not too concerned about, you know, playing on a specific kill zone. They're actually really well balanced and can play on any kill zone very well. But they are really weak into specifically melee kill teams as well as some elite kill teams. Because remember, you effectively only have 2 good melee pieces, and once those go down, you just fold and you get really run over by dedicated melee teams, especially as your melee operatives are now just okay. Like, they're good, but they're not great compared to other melee operatives. And then elite kill teams can be a huge problem, especially if your lance fails to hit. Then you're relying on your Lectu Maester to get a shot, but then you're leaving them in the open. So if your like lances fail, like your support assets, you kind of just end up scrambling and hoping like you just win out on sheer volumes of attacks and attrition. So if that fails, like suddenly elite kill teams become a huge problem, especially as they can double fight. So they can actually really mess around, will double fight and double shoot to mess up with your damage negation. But the main roadblock to Starstriders are melee kill teams. So this is what makes them even better into like team format, because not only can you specifically avoid those melee teams, you can throw them into like Eldari teams and even into larger horde teams, because when it becomes into a shootout, you have all these amazing defensive shooty teams. So even into shooty hordes, you have lots of ways of dealing with them, as well as double firing, not double fighting, but you have lots of ways of getting 2 kills from a single operative, which is really, really powerful. And that's just what makes Elucidian Starstriders so well-rounded. At the moment, they're not that great, as I said, because of the rise of certain melee kill teams, as well as elites being very strong, but they're a great off-meta kill team to pick. Then we have Ratlings. So Ratlings are an 11 operative kill team with a mix of 8 small Ratlings and 3 Ogrins or Bullgreens, a mix of each, which gives you 11 activations. Because your leader gives you +1 equipment option, if you take the scouting option to give you an extra equipment and you take another operative, you could potentially have 6 to 7 pieces of equipment, which is great. Like, it allows a lot of synergy with what you can do with equipment, almost giving you unlimited equipment. And then you've got tripwires, which allow you with your terrain to build this great wall of terrain, as we call. It will make more sense when I do the equipment video, but effectively tripwires, you get to place 2 per game, and then when your opponent moves within range of them, they stop their move, they are -1 APL until the end of their next activation, and it basically traps them there. And currently on Gallowdark, and on Open, you can place them within basically accessible terrain and hatchways, which makes it really hard for your opponent to just try and move up. But then coupled with stuff like razor wire, other mines, barricades, you can effectively make along the center line of the kill zone this huge wall of disruptive equipment that slows your opponent getting down to you into your part of the board, which is really great when you're playing this kill team defensively, because that's the main way you play them. Ratlings can't really do burst damage, they can't really go out and do aggressive plays. They're a very, very defensive turtley kill team that aims to punish the opponent for moving up, which basically all this equipment and tripwires allows you to do. Every Ratling also has a sniper rifle with either a mobile or stationary profile, but that basically means you're either firing a bolt gun if you're mobile, or you're firing a free gun, either Dev 1 or Dev 3, that can also have silent potentially for a CP. Which means all of a sudden, especially if you start rolling hard and you've got equipment that gives you severe once per turning point, you can suddenly burst a lot of damage, which really messes up a lot of opponents, either with a lot of wounds or like high saves. Because especially if you just roll a lot of crits, you'll suddenly do like 9, maybe even 12 damage and instantly kill most targets, which is really, really good. You have Scarpa along with the Battle Mot, which allows great mobility to tricks, despite the general low movement of the kill team, because they are movement 5, so they're not the fastest kill team. But Scarpa, every alternating activation, you can have someone do a free dash, whether they're activated already, which suddenly gives a lot of mobility to this kill team, especially if you give some operatives +1 APL, because then all of a sudden you can effectively dash, then dash and reposition and get somewhere where you really need to be. But you also have great utility operatives such as the Bomber, who has a really nice short-range super crack blast grenade. Then you've got the Raider, who is your hookshot operative, who can surprisingly cover a lot of the kill zone with its hookshot, making gather surveillance super easy for your kill team, as well as stealing objectives. And then you've got the Stash Master, who can potentially give you a free ammo pile to take, as well as doing a mission action for free, which allows you a lot of flexibility. Really, really nice key operatives that allow you to flex out more from, while you're having generally everyone being quite defensive, you have these free operatives running a lot of disruption into the opponent. You have access to super conceal via shifty and can shoot into close combat, i.e. control range with sharp shot, which means your opponents actually can't really hide from you. And you can hide effectively from them, because even if they have Seek or Seek Light, you spend a CP for Shifty and basically can't be shot, making you more likely to win these engagements. Or if you're playing someone who's going engaged to shoot you, you can punish them and not fear about return fire. And then because you can shoot into close combat for a CP with no real downside, it means even if opponents try to charge block you and hide in close combat, it doesn't really work. And it's great even when you tie people up with Ogrins. Then you've got Larcenous, which is an amazing tactical ploy used in the firefight phase, that allows you to effectively do a mission action on an objective you don't control as long as you're contesting it. Which is really, really powerful. It means you, especially onto maps like Extraction and Sabotage, you can just send someone once per turning point to run onto your opponent's objective, blow up, get a VP, stop them, even if they had like 6 operatives and you had a way to place on there without being in control range of them. Very, very good. Even on normal missions, you can just suddenly like steal it from under your opponent's nose. Very, very good. They're amazing on Games Workshop Gallowdark maps, as well as on non-Vocus kill zones. Because they have some access to Seek Light, it makes their sniper rifles, and well, ignore it, obscuring, it makes their sniper rifles really toxic to deal with. And when you're playing on the Games Workshop Gallowdark maps, because they're basically open corridors, it allows Ratlings to just dominate lanes. Or if you're playing on like LVO, so Squad Games, Gallowdark maps, they're not as good because there's more places. Well, it's because more maze-like, so it's not large open rooms. But even when you're playing on older kill zones, such as Octarius, Nakmund, even Chaunath, maybe not Chaunath, but because there's so much light cover, they suddenly just destroy everyone. So it's really important to keep in mind when you're playing at tournaments or you're playing in team tournaments, maybe you force the Ratlings always onto the Games Workshop Gallowdark maps because you will just completely shut down the opponent. However, their main downside is that they are too short to see over a lot of Vocus and they struggle into fast kill teams. So the main issue is literally on Vocus, because there's so much heavy, not only are you struggling to shoot, but there will be scenarios where you literally can't see over walls, which is very problematic because a lot of the walls are very, very tall, which means, you know, it's great. Your opponent can't see you, but then you can't see them, which makes your sniper rifle staging really hard. And because of fast kill teams able to like get around your great wall of equipment, it means they're more likely to hem you in and suddenly overwhelm you with burst charges, which makes it really hard to deal with. Now, elite kill teams aren't actually much of a problem for Ratlings. It depends if they're fast elite kill teams. So like Slanesh Legionary and Phobos Strike Team can be really problematic for Ratlings, as well as kill zones that allow them to stage up. But it's generally their literal shortness and fast kill teams, because like, for example, Goremongers will mess up Ratlings because they can go up to 8-inch movement if needed, but because they're just so fast and they have an operative that only climbs for 2, they kind of make a joke of your equipment wall and just run through you. But overall, they are one of the better off-meta kill teams in the game right now. Then we've got Exaction Squad. They're also an 11 operative kill team, all with 8 wounds and a 4-up save, which is pretty nice. They have Subductors, which all have 3-up armor save and then a shot pistol. But they are great defensive operatives that roadblock a lot of enemy melee operatives, because not only do they always count as fighting first when they're retaliating, they can use 1 block. So they can use a normal success to block 2 of your normal successes, or they can use a crit to block 2 crits or a crit and a normal, which makes them very difficult to deal with, because especially as they're 4/4 damage, you charge in, right? They now hit you first, and effectively, if you're not a Space Marine, even if you're a Space Marine, like even those Subductors want to block you out. The greatest thing is, even if they know they're going to lose this combat, they can just suddenly hit you for 8 damage while you kill them, which makes them like, even when elites try and charge into them, they get hit heavily for trying to charge these operatives. And because of the 3-up save, they're actually not too easy to shoot down, which makes them very, very good. Every operative can shoot into control range with ruthless efficiency, so you know you can't really charge block and hide from them. You will just get shot apart. Marked for Justice is rotating punishing, allowing for some nice accessory buffs along with Dispense Justice and Terminal Decree. So basically Dispense Justice allows you to Reroll your defense dice, attack dice of ceaseless when you're fighting, and as long as you haven't moved greater than your movement characteristic, and terminal decree allows you to, reroll your shooting within 4. So you get a lot of ways, especially because you have one operative that can give you severe with one gun. With this bouncing punishing, it can actually make you quite accurate if you roll hot. Then you've got Guilt Reveal itself, allowing you to shoot anyone within 4 inches instead of normally being within 2 to negate cover, which is very, very powerful, especially into teams with lots of super conceal, such as weird Ratlings. But it's a really good offensive tool to counteract the fact that your shotguns are all 6-inch range. Then Execution Order is rather reliable interruption tech, because used at the end of the turning point, or after an operative has done a mission action, and then when the operative next activates, one of your operatives can activate first instead to interrupt, which is really, really good, especially with people picking Plant Beacon a lot of the time. So you can have someone last activation, Plant Beacon, then you play Execution Order, because let's say they've done it to run into your territory, and then now even if they win initiative and try to keep the operative safe, you can activate first and shoot them or charge them, which is really, really useful. They can super GA2, so group activate 2, with the Leash Master and Cyber Mastiff. So what I mean when they can super GA2, they activate as one and share their actions, instead of normally with group activation where you activate one model, finish all their actions, then you activate the next odd model. So that means you can have let's say the Leash Master with free APL open the door, the dog charges in, then you walk up, you shoot that operative, then you change that dog's order, then it fights. So you have a lot of ways to sequence that, which is very powerful. As I said, they have powerful close range shooting because everyone has 6-inch shotguns hitting on threes, 4/4 damage, as well as you've got the Weber with stun, which is really, really useful. Then they've got very strong faction equipment, including the game's best sunglasses. So if they take phosphorlumens, they ignore all negative APL modifiers. If they take the sunglasses, which means they now just especially when your medic now heals for free. Very, very useful. And then also you've got the ability to stop rerolling dice of 1s if people within 2 to 3 inches, which is really, really useful. They've got great enemy APL control with the Nuncio Aquila. So your leader can place this for free and then move it. And basically, if they're within 3 inches of that marker, they're -1 to control objectives and +1 to do mission actions, which is very, very powerful. And the greatest thing about this, because you can reposition it for free and use it for free every time your leader activates, it's very powerful. For example, even though Gallowdark is harder to use on, you could open the door and open it and then place the Nuncio Aquila in range. So if your opponent's trying to do the thing where they open the door, shoot you and close it, they can't actually do that because it would cost them 2 APL to close the door, because now they'd be ranged within the Nuncio Aquila. So you have a lot of defensive tools, especially as well as controlling the middle objective, making it very hard for non-Space Marine operatives to try and steal that point. You have a great comms that just needs visibility to give someone +1 APL, doesn't care about range, so allows a lot of flexibility. And they are amazing on Gallowdark and into most melee kill teams. As I said, because they can shoot into control range, you can take up to 4 subductors, then your leader can take a shock maul and shield, so you have 5 sources of fighting first and double blocking, which is so good. It means it's not really good for your opponent to try and kill you, especially if they don't have access to brutal or severe, ways to roll lots of crits. Because then the problem is, if they start rolling in with brutal and crits, you're hoping you roll crits when you only have 4 dice hitting on 4s. Your leader is lethal 5-up, which is nice, but that's just 1 operative. But you struggle heavily into elite kill teams, as well as on certain more open kill zones, because you don't have enough places to stage up safely. But it's mainly elite kill teams because you only have 1 source of piercing 1 now, and if that fails, basically Space Marines can just run through you. The elite matchup has gotten a bit worse. You're kind of just relying on your sniper and someone getting P1 to just shred a Marine, and you're trying to hope you've staged it off in a way to deny the elite kill team to push forward, which is kind of a ongoing trend, which I am very much aware of. But also more open kill zones, as I said, because it's harder to stage up. They're okay in Vocus. The benefit of playing on Vocus and other open kill zones is you have greater usage of the Nuncio Aquila. But then it basically, when you only have 1 long range operative, or maybe 2 if you take the heavy stubber, it means it's easier for your opponent to punish you. Whereas when you're playing on kill zones like Gallodark, you're much more better to like do these burst activations, walk into a room and shotgun people. But if you're playing in team formats, Exaction Squad are not only great into Gallodark, but they're really good at countering melee kill teams, as well as even a lot of Eldari kill teams. So they're really good niche counter pick, which is like, they're so good when they're in a matchup they control, because they're effectively another control kill team. But when you can do that, you can effectively shut down your opponent and stop them playing the game, which is amazing. And then finally, as the best off-meta kill team, we have Farstalker Kinband. They are 12 operatives and 12 activations, which is the highest you can be, and very, very good. Allows you to easily out-activate pretty much everyone in the game and set up after your opponent has done all their key things. You have easy access to Balanced, Ceaseless, and Relentless via Call the Kill, which nominates an enemy operative that everyone gets balanced from, and then if you kill that person, you can bounce it, and then your leader can give someone permanent balanced. Then you've got Prey, which gives Ceaseless if you're benefiting from balance and you haven't moved yet before you shoot, which is really useful. And then Vengeance for the Kinband, where if someone kills one of your operatives, you can spend a CP to get Relentless for them until they die, and then you can do it again when someone else kills, which is a really good punishing tool, making them one of the most reroll heavy kill teams in the game. They have excellent climbing mobility with bound, so they ignore the first 2 inches of when they climb. So when you combine this with the ladder, they actually climb for free, but allows them to speed across the kill zone and not care too much for obstacles in the way, which is very, very useful, especially as a lot of the operatives want to get close to the enemy or into close combat. They can burst up to 4/5 attacks with Cutthroats, giving them +1 attack, and with Savage Ambush, as long as they have cover in their control range, they can always strike first. So even if your opponent charges you or has an ability to fight first, you can spend a CP with Savage Ambush. As long as cover is in your control range, you can then fight first, which is very, very useful, either like getting like a kill that would normally kill you, or just making your opponent rethink about charging you altogether. They have lots of very good shooting from all threat ranges. Like, they've got free shotguns, but then they also have the bow, the sniper, but even at short range, they have the, not the Tri-Blast, they have their Piercing 2 Flamer, which is really, really good. So they're actually really good at flexing at all ranges for shooting. And they have easy access to Seek Light via their tracker, where their tracker can just give an enemy operative, if they're within control range of that marker, Seek Light for the whole kill team, which is amazing, making them really, really powerful on not only Gallodark, but also Beta Decima. Crute Hounds are excellent harassment pieces because they're 8-inch movement base, so they can go up to a 10-inch when they charge, and especially when they bound means they can just charge whenever. And with Cutthroats, they go up to 5 attacks, hitting on freeze, free fall rending, which is very useful. So they are only 7 wounds though, whereas everyone else is 8. But you're always taking at least 1 generally, and they're very, very useful. You have great tac ops because you have recon and infiltration, allowing you to go either like plant beacons, confirm kill, gather surveillance, all which this kill team does really well. And Poach allows you to easily control the crit up. Like with Larcenous from the Ratlings, this allows you to do the same thing, effectively win missions like loot, sabotage, and extraction. So very, very good there. And then you've got, they're powerful on any kill zone. Like, they like Gallodark because they have ways to get +1 APL. They like Focus because they have bound, they can easily get around. And with Beta Decima, once again, they have bound, but also easy access to Seek Light. So they're really, really good on whatever kill zone you pick. Their main weakness is into, once again, elites, but also certain melee kill teams, which is frustrating. As you can see, this is why they're so off meta, because currently elites are meta. Now, they do actually do pretty well into elites, but you have to play it very carefully. You have to quickly focus down on on elite operatives and not allow them the ability to quickly get double kills. Because the problem is, if Farstalker Kinband can pick the engagements, you can slowly pick down elites. But the problem is, if elites stage up aggressively, they just suddenly go like, okay, yeah, this guy activates, kills 2 crew. Oh, you kill him. Okay, now this guy activates, kills 2 more of your crew. Oh, you've lost most of your punch. Now this other Marine activates, which is a problem because Marines can now just aggressively push up. But also certain melee kill teams. Now, while actually Farstalker Kinband has access to a lot of stun, which makes them actually pretty good into Felgor Ravager, melee teams like Sanctifiers and Goremongers are really good at beating Farstalker Kinband just because they have great damage profiles because they're doing minimum 4/4 damage, and they have great damage negation because the issue with Farstalker Kinband, they only 3/4 in close combat, and they actually struggle in killing in close combat, even with their dedicated melee operatives. operatives. Generally, you're going into melee to finish off kills because your leader is 4-5, so he can just like go and fight, but everyone else is 3-4. So you're kind of using melee as a deterrent, going like, oh yeah, if you charge me on 4 to 5 attacks, I can do this. You generally don't want to be charging, but when you're not playing those kill teams, this kill team is amazing. Like, that's what makes them, like, for me, the best off-meta kill team. They do well on any kill zone, and if you're playing on team format, they're so good at picking up key targets. Like, you can go, oh, this person's running a horde team, we'll send Farstalker Kinband into them, they'll shred them. Oh, we're playing on Basis Decima. Actually, even though, you know, we're likely to run into an elite kill team, we'll send Farstalker Kinband because they can bound up, they have Seek Light, they're going to shred anyone on that kill zone. And even on Galadoc, you have lots of access to APL to open doors, and then if we are playing on the Games Workshop Galadoc maps, especially with the large open rooms, you just wait for your opponent to move up, then you go like, my bird is going to reveal you, and then everyone else just lights them up. So you have lots of really nice ways to play the game, and also even into those bad matchups, you can, if you're playing submissions like Extraction, Sabotage, or Loot, you can use Poach to win you the game on the crit op, while like making sure you at least tie on the tac op and like stay back from the kill op. So they're really, really useful as this great off-meta kill team. Unfortunately, they still do have those key popular bad matchups, especially now with what meta we're in now, which makes them, you know, not as good as they used to be. But as I said, when you're in this team format where you get to pick what you want to do, they are so good. So for my off-meta kill team review, off-meta kill teams are a lot of fun. Whether you win or lose, you know, even if they are harder to play, they are generally a lot more favorable, like flavorful, thematic, and really fun. They also have these unique playstyles that you're not usually exposed to, whether you're playing against or as them. So it's really, really useful just as an own learning experience or a way to like freshen up your kill team experience. They're still very powerful, but key popular bad matchups make them hard to win with large events. So for like 4 to 3 round events, you can win with any kill team. But with these off-meta kill teams, you need to keep in mind if you're playing like 6 to 9 round tournaments, it's going to be very hard to win with these kill teams just because it's more likely eventually you're going to run into these bad matchups, which unfortunately do have a high chance for you just to lose because of how those play out. But once again, they are amazing for team events. All the factions I've listed here, once again, I wouldn't recommend you. I mean, you could, you know, if you're really cool, you just make a team of like 5 of these teams, which is nice. But you should always keep in mind, like maybe have 1 or 2. Right? That's what I really like about team formats, because you get to like tailor the matchups a bit more. It means certain kill teams that wouldn't do as well in normal format become really, really good because they get to pick their kill zones, missions, and or matchups, which really changes how it not only you approach the game as the player, but as a team as a whole. It's really tactical and really allows these kill teams to shine, which is great. And then opponents generally will not be experienced into playing them. So when you play off-meta kill teams, they're off-meta for a reason. They're not that popular, or even if they're popular, they're not really played that well. So if you can actually play these off-meta kill teams very, very well, you've put in the time, you've put in the experience, you've done all the reps, you can actually really mess up opponents, even bad matchups, if they haven't prepared for you. But the problem is I still have to underline this. If your opponent has prepped for you and they are your bad matchup, it's going to be rough. But there's still always hope, because once again, kill team is always a skill-based game. So as long as you are able to highlight your skill more and practice and prep more and be more experienced, you can still win these bad matchups. But playing them makes you the coolest hipsters in kill team. Who needs elite kill teams, right? I have a Kroot Hound, or I have a dog, right? Or I'm just a little guy who's running up. I'm going to stab you in the knee with my power knives, or I'm going to call in an orbital bombardment just because I can and I have a spaceship. That's what makes these off-meta kill teams so cool. They also become like great painting projects. If you want to, you can like make them, you know, your own unique kill teams with conversions, and they're just really fun to play. You know, they are difficult, but they're a great learning thing, like a learning tool as a player to use, because even if you don't stick with them, using them allows you to memorize them, their abilities and tricks, and different ways for you to approach the game. I think I've played all of these kill teams competitively, apart from Ratlings and Hernkyn Yaegirs. And even though I haven't stuck with them, I stuck with them for like 2 to 3 months. I learned a lot, and it helped me when I go into these kill teams now. So even if my opponent is really prepared with them, I can go like, okay, yeah, I kind of have an idea what you want to do, because that's what I wanted to do when I played them. And it's just really useful as a learning experience, or just trying to have fun and trying to shake up the game. But that's pretty much it from me today. Please remember to like and subscribe as well as comment. Let me know what you thought of today's video, if you found it useful and helpful. And remember, I've got a Discord you can check out for free in the episode description below, and a affiliate link at Element Games, and a affiliate link in Discord code at Crossfire Games, and a Patreon if you want to give me some more support. And I'm just going to quickly shout out my patrons. So for my adepts of the crit, I have Tom, the Houston Toad, Super Cow, Sam, Nick, Mercenary Q, Mr. Meatwood, Marshall, Lucas, Jeremiah, Graham, Fangzu Draken, Dave Meatswell, Dan, Dada Goldens, Chris, and Amorphium. So thank you so much for all your support. It really means a lot to me and helps support the channel. But that's pretty much it from me today. I'm trying to, get through some more videos. So we'll have another video this week, trying to spin something off instead of talking about, just nerfs and stuff. Because I want to highlight off-meta teams just because I think they're really cool, and there's a lot of stuff you can learn and make these off-meta kill teams useful to how you approach kill team. But yeah, we're going back to some more interesting content, because we're going into a bit of a lull as we wait for this balanced data slate, and I'm still painting up some of my new kill teams. But remember, no matter how off-meta you are, there's always a chance to win as long as you can roll a crit.